For those of you that are just joining us, this is Mobile Realtor with Miami. It was formerly titled Mobile Marketing, and we will be reviewing the applications for HomeSnap, RPR, and Remind. Okay, so I'm actually going to be switching over to my cell phone shortly so that I can share with you the applications, and I can actually jump in there with you and go through it with you. Okay, so with us in the chat, we do have Christy Denny's. She is one of the trainers, and she will be in the chat answering your questions. When we're teaching, it's very difficult to jump back and forth between the chat and the product, especially when we're teaching applications. So Christy will be answering your questions in the chat. Feel free to jump in there and let her know if you would like something repeated or if you have a question about an app and what it can do. And you should be currently seeing my phone, and the application that is open right now is the application for HomeSnap. So I'm going to start with HomeSnap first. Now, HomeSnap is a mostly mobile app, so you're not really going to use it on the computer. You can absolutely log in and use it on the computer, but it seems to be used mostly on tablets and cell phones, and it is tablet friendly. So HomeSnap's icon, just so that you know, let me show you, because we always get asked, what does the icon look like? So we are going to be using HomeSnap today, which is the first icon that you see in that row. Go MLS Miami, or Go MLS, I should say, because it's no longer Go MLS Miami. But Go MLS has its own class already available on our YouTube channel and on miamirealtorslive.com. Christy will be sharing that information with you in the chat, as well as our contact information. RPR is the other app that I will be going through today, and then Remind, which is in the second row in the center. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure to show you what the icon looks like. I know that we get asked that often, just to make sure that you're downloading the right app. The app is available in your Google Play Store and in your Apple App Store. And just so that you know, they do have a version of the application for consumers. So they would download the very same application. The only difference would be how they log in. When you're an agent and you log in, you are specifying that you are a realtor, you're an agent, and then you're activating your account. Everyone has access to HomeSnap Pro, every member of Miami. And then if a customer logs in, they are logging in and saying that they're a consumer. I will show you how you can invite them to download the application so that you can make sure that they are, or their account is connected to you when they use it. That way they only see you as the point of contact, and they don't end up seeing the listing agent or whatnot. So let's talk about HomeSnap. This is the home screen. Every time you open HomeSnap, this is where it will take you. Starting from top to bottom, at the very top where my screen says Coral Brook, that's a search field with a magnifying glass. And if I tap that search field, I now see that I can search for listings or for properties, because I can still get information even if it's not on the MLS. And I would see this, I would see cities, I can use addresses, school zones, zip codes, or MLS number. Okay, so I can plug in the information and I can search or bring up specific properties, or I can search for a list of properties. Next to that search field, there's a camera. This camera is really interesting. What it does is it will take a picture, or you will take a picture of a property, any property, and it will go ahead and bring up the information. Because HomeSnap is a combination of MLS and or tax record information, public information, it will give you information about the property no matter what. But I can take a picture of a property. And the example I always love to use that people always kind of go, oh, okay, that's when the light bulb goes off. Let's say I'm driving down the street after a meeting, or I'm on my way to a showing, and I see a for sale by owner. I can stop and snap a picture and get some of that information. So starting from the top, I mentioned the search bar, and then I said that to the right of the search bar, there's a camera icon in the top right corner. So that camera icon that I'm mentioning allows you to take a picture of any property and pull up information. If it's on the MLS, it would be the listing info. And if it's not on the MLS, it would be info from the tax record. Now, beneath that search bar and that camera, you'll see that there are 3 buttons: for sale, for rent, and all homes. That's just the type of search you want to run. For sale is obvious. That would be your listings that are active and for sale. Rentals would be your active rentals, or you can also pull closed, but those are your sales and rentals. All homes is when you're interested in getting information for maybe potential listings, right? So it just depends on what you're searching, but you've got 3 different searches up there. Next to those three buttons that say for sale, for rent, and all homes, you have two words written in blue that say sort and filter. Sort is going to change how your results are sorted. So notice that after I tap on the word sort at the bottom, I can sort it by date, bedrooms, bathrooms, price, okay? And I've got quite a few options. But that's just going to reorganize the order of the results. Next to sort, I have filter, and filters are where I would enter that criteria for my search so that I can find what it is I'm looking for. So you do have your criteria, and notice that when I tap on filters, I do have the option of jumping between, again, at the very top, for sale, for rent, or all homes, okay? So those are your three searches in the system, and these are the sets of search fields assigned to each of those searches. I'm not going to search yet. I just want to explain this home screen first. So beneath those options, beneath that you have the map. The map itself has additional options within it, and I'll show you that a little bit later. But the map exists to kind of give you an idea of where the properties are located. Okay, and then beneath the map, I see the properties listed. So I see one picture per property. Okay, and I can tap on any of these properties and get additional info. We're going to do that in a few seconds, but I just wanted to show you this initial screen that you're looking at, okay, and what we're working with here. Now, all the way at the bottom, I have my main menu options. At the bottom, starting from left to right, news would be any news and updates of what's occurring in my markets. And I'll show you in a few seconds where you can specify those zip codes, and it is based off of zip code. But it'll let you know what's active or what's closed. It also gives you articles. These articles you can share and post on social media if you wanted to, if you need content. But you're gonna get updates. Okay, so here I see what's active, what's going on with the zip codes that I have entered into my application. Next to news, I have messages. This application does have a built-in chat, so I can chat with other agents or my customers through this application. Next to messages, I have homes, which is where we started. So this is that starting point that we were at. If we ever want to get back to this search option, we're going to tap on homes, which is in the center at the bottom. Next to homes, we have pro agents. So here they have a lot of the upgraded services that they offer you. Anything that says Pro Plus is available for an additional fee. And you can research that on your own. But one of the things that they offer is advertisements that could potentially run in Google, Facebook, Instagram, and Waze. And if you're interested in that, you can come to Pro Agents and check that out. But they also do have HomeSnap Pro University towards the bottom, which is a great place for you to find tips and tricks on how you can use HomeSnap and boost your productivity. Next to Pro Agents, you have a circle that says Me. And that's where I'm going to start first. I want to make sure that your profile is up to date, that you know where you can add your picture and all your pertinent info. So from here, and I am using an iPhone, so sometimes things are a little different if you're using another version of the iPhone or if you're using an Android, but for the most part, it's almost the same. From here, okay, and I'm in Me, which is the icon all the way at the bottom, all the way to the right. I'm going to start with my settings. So in the top left corner, you'll notice that I now have like a little gear, a symbol for settings. I'm going to tap on that gear. And here I have the option of updating my information and updating my zip codes. So let's go ahead and tap on update my info. Okay. And if you notice, this is where I can upload my picture. My name and my brokerage come from my membership profile at the association. And then I have my email and my phone number. If you wanted to update your password, this is where you would do it as well. Whatever you do here, in order to save those changes, make sure that you tap on update in the top right corner. Sometimes you have it at the bottom of the screen, but just make sure that you save those changes. If I go back, which is in the top left, I can now update my zip codes. And remember, these zip codes will provide the news and the news alerts that I see in that news tab. I'll also receive emails with these notifications. So I'm going to tap on that second option that says update my zip codes, and you can enter up to 3 zip codes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just tap in a zip code, tap on the word add, it's that blue button in the center. Okay, and you can add maximum 3 zip codes. So I'm already at my max. Okay, I'm going to tap on back in the top left corner. I'm going to tap on it again. So how did we get there? Remember, I went into my profile, so I tapped on me in the bottom right corner. Once I'm in my profile in the top left corner, I tap on those gears or settings. Again, if you have a different phone, it may look a little different, but look for your settings. And in your settings, you have the option of updating your information and updating those zip codes. From here, you can also determine what kind of notifications and sounds you want to appear on your cell phone, and that's personal preference. I'm gonna go back. Now, aside from your picture, which I just showed you, you can update it in the settings. You can also update it by tapping on the circle with the picture that's here in the center. So I'm still on my profile, I tap on that picture, and I can either take one from the camera, pick from my library or album, or open this one up to see what it looks like. There's also an image behind my picture. If I wanted to update that image, I can go ahead and just tap on that rectangle or that image. And here you do only have options provided by HomeSnap. You cannot upload your own. But let's say I wanted to switch it over to this image. If you notice, it looks like it didn't change. If that happens to you, simply drag your screen downward, let it refresh, and it'll show up. So again, how did I change that picture? I tapped on that rectangle or picture. I selected from the options that HomeSnap has for me. If it looks like it didn't update, drag your screen from top to bottom, give it a second, and it will update. Okay, so we've updated our pictures, we've updated that background image. Let's talk about inviting. So if I would like my customers to use HomeSnap, I can invite them to do so. And by inviting them and having them download the link, download the application from that link, their account is basically tied to mine. So they're not going to see the listing agent. They would only have me as the point of communication. I would tap on invite. It's going to open up my contacts, and I can simply select my contacts, or I can even invite them all. And once I've invited or tapped on them, you'll notice that in the bottom right corner, it'll say invite. So again, if I wanted to invite customers to download the application and have their account tied to mine, I'm going to go to me and tap on that invite button that's in the center of the screen toward the left, okay? Now, once they have downloaded the application and registered, you will see them under clients and contacts. So under clients, these are the 2 clients I have or customers I have who have downloaded the application. But you can also see favorites, recently viewed, invited, and requested. If I tap on more, so I'm still working with those 3 options in the center of the screen. If I tap on more, I also have the option of changing my profile image and wallpaper here as well. I have a mortgage calculator, a net sheet calculator, view snaps to see any pictures I've taken using that camera icon that's in the top right corner. And then I can view my clients and share this profile on social media. If I go back, you'll notice that there is a public profile and an agent only profile. And that's because HomeSnap has agent users and it has general or users from the general public. The general public is going to see your public profile. Okay, so this is what they're going to see. They're going to see your information. They'll be able to message you through HomeSnap if they wanted to. Your agent only profile is only visible to other agents, and they are going to see your contact information as well as your deal flow. In other words, how active you've been in the last 24 months. Okay, and that is only visible to other agents. Who's Viewed My Profile is available for an additional fee. For those of you who are interested in following up on leads, that might be of interest to you, because then you can follow up with consumers who have clicked or viewed your profile and see if they're interested in working with you. Recently viewed would be properties that I viewed recently in the app. My listings is self-explanatory. My favorites are listings or properties that you saved. My saved searches would be entire searches or the criteria that you saved, office information, and MLS identities. Okay, so now that we have our profile set up, I'm going to go back to the search. So in the bottom row of menu options in the center, I am going to tap on Homes and go back to my search. So one of the really convenient things about HomeSnap is that if I have someone interested in a specific school district, I can use the school name to search. So for example, if I have someone who's interested in having their child attend Coral Gables Elementary, or I'm sorry, senior high, not elementary, Coral Gables Senior High School, there it is. It shows up on the list of results. I tap on the school and you'll notice that on the map, I now have this shape that's been drawn. And that's because that is the area assigned to Coral Gables Senior High School. Once I've got my area specified, I can then jump into the filters, which are right beneath that camera icon in the top right corner. And I can then specify, is this a sales, search for sales, for rentals, and I can go ahead and add in my criteria. So for sale, I can say status, I can specify price, I can specify, do I want to see price reductions only, bed, bath, property type, list type. So as you can see, you have quite a few filters that have been added in, and they are planning to add in more as they go, okay? So let's say I'm looking for anything that's under $1 million. I'm gonna go ahead and say 0 to 1 million. And let's say they want 3 to 4 bedrooms and they want at least 3 bathrooms, right? Every filter that I've added now has a blue circle, letting me know that I am including that filter in my search. When I am done adding my filters, at the bottom of the screen, I'm going to tap on apply. Okay, and it's going to give me the results based off of the criteria that I just entered in the filters. The results are mapped out, and if I wanted to see information, I could tap on any of these green flags. Okay, and it'll give me like a little pop-up. Or you'll notice that there are results listed beneath the map as well. So it doesn't matter which option you choose. All you have to do to see the listing details or the property details is tap on any of these pictures. Okay, and once you've tapped on that picture, I've got all of the information, right? You can also see some of that MLS history, and you can even ask HomeSnap to email you to notify you of any price changes for this listing. You can communicate with the listing agent. Related people would be the owners. And here we have the rest of the listing details. After you're done reviewing the details for the property, at the very bottom, you'll have suggestions of similar properties or listings. Okay, so we have similar listings at the bottom. If I wanted to go back, you have back in the top left. But let's say I really like this property and I want to come back to it later. I don't want to share it, but I just want to save it for later. You'll notice that in the top right corner, there is a star. If I tap on the star, it is saved, and I can view it later in my profile. Okay, so I save the property. If I wanted to share this with the customer, you'll notice that as I scroll through the details, there's now a rectangle at the bottom of the screen that has the property address, and then it has a chat bubble, a star, and a square with an arrow. Those options are for you to share it via chat. The star is to favorite it, which we already did. And the square with the arrow is if you wish to share it through email, text message, or WhatsApp. So I can go ahead and share it that way. If I want to go back to the results, I'm going to tap on back in the top left corner, and I'm back to where we started. Now, another way to favorite properties is maybe you don't have time to review the details, you're in a hurry, and you just want to save them and look at those details later. You'll notice that each of the results has a star in the top right corner, and I can just tap on the star there instead of going into the details. Now, where do these properties go? Remember, if I tap on me, which is in the bottom right corner, and I just move my screen down, there's an option that says My Favorites. If I tap on My Favorites, I would see all the properties that I have favorited. If they're no longer a favorite or I'm no longer interested, I can tap on that star to remove it, drag my screen down and refresh, and it gets deleted from the list. Now again, no one is seeing this except you, okay? You haven't shared anything if all you did was favorite it. Remember that to share it, you have to share it through the chat, or you can share it through text message or email. If I go back to that original screen by tapping on Homes in the bottom, in the center, let's talk about saving this search. Now remember, when you save a search, you're saving the criteria. So if you notice on the map itself, I have 2 buttons. One says Remove Outline if I would like to remove the shape that was drawn, and I have the option to save this search. If I tap on Save Search, they've named it, but I'm going to go ahead and rename this, and let's say CGHS, Coral Gables High School listings. And if I'm doing this for a specific customer, maybe I want to put their name. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is for my customer, John Doe. I tap on save in the top right corner. Where do my save searches go? Again, if I tap on me in the bottom right corner, right beneath my favorites, it says my save searches. If I tap on my save searches, you'll notice that it's listed chronologically. My most recent save search is at the top. If I tap on it, it takes me right back to the results. Okay, so if you favorite a property or you save a search, nothing is shared with the customer by doing so. It is saved for your use, and you would view these favorited properties and these saved searches in your profile by tapping on me and looking for those categories. Now let's talk about the map. I'm going to go ahead and just reset everything. So I'm going to clear everything out and I'm going to remove the outline. If I tap on the map, it's going to open up the map. Those results get pushed out of the way. And you'll notice that now the map has 5 buttons or circles on the right-hand side. There's one for commute time, drawing, near me, which will use your GPS and move the map over to where you are, layers, and then list takes us back to the original screen. Commute time comes in handy when you have someone or you have a couple of family who is interested in being close to specific things, close to their jobs, close to their kids' schools, close to a family member, etc. So let's say I have a couple who works, one in Miami Springs and one in Coral Gables, and they want to find a property that is 15 to 20 minutes away from where they live. So they want to find something that's 15 to 20 minutes away from their job. I can add up to 5 addresses here, and a lot of systems that have similar tools only allow you to use 1 address at a time. HomeSnap allows you to use 5 at a time. I'm going to tap on add another address, and I'm going to go ahead and supply the address in Miami Springs. There it is. I tap on it, and now the commute time says 30 minutes, but they told me 20. So I'm going to tap on 30 minutes, and I'm going to go down to 20. Done. Now the other person works in Coral Gables. So I'm going to go ahead and add another address and add in the property. Again, that work address is there, and then it says 30 minutes. I'm going to go down to 20. When I'm done adding addresses, in the top right corner, it says search. I tap on search, and the shape that it has drawn means that any property within that shape would allow them to get to their jobs within 20 minutes because that's what they asked of me. Again, you have this tool available in other systems, including Matrix, but it only allows you to supply 1 address at a time. If you would prefer to draw on the map, you can then tap on the second button, which says draw. Now you can only have 1 drawing on the map at a time. So the moment I tap on draw, that shape from my commuting time will be deleted, okay? Usually. So let's say I draw a circle now. That commuting time shape is gone, and now it focuses on the circle that I drew. So if I want to use commuting time, I tap on commute, supply the addresses, and tap on search. If you prefer to draw your own shape, you're going to use that second button that says draw. Near me is going to move the map over. So let's say I was all the way in, I'm going to move the map. Okay, let's say I was all the way in West Palm Beach looking for stuff. And then I decide that I wanted to move the map back over to where I currently am. I tap on near me, okay, and it's going to move the map back down to Miami where I am now. After near me, you have layers, and with layers, you can add schools to the map. Okay, so everything that shows up with a little graduation cap is a school, and you can actually tap on those schools. Let me show you. Tap on that little pin and get more information. That's Shenandoah Elementary, and I can say, show me homes in that school zone. If I remove the schools simply by tapping on it again, I can also change my map to satellite view, and that's personal preference. And I can remove it by tapping on it. If I wanted to go back to my original screen, I'm going to tap on list, and it's going to take me back to that original split screen that has the map at the top and the results at the bottom. Now, that's focused on the searching, and the same is applicable for a search for rentals. But let's talk about what you can do with a property that is not on the MLS, right? So let's say you found a FSBO. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to tap on a random property. So let's say I'm driving past this house and I notice it has a for sale sign, right? I'm gonna pull up the information, I'm going to tap on that picture, and it's gonna open up the details. It's giving me an estimated value for this property. It's letting me know it's off market, how many bedrooms, bathrooms. But if you notice, there's a safety timer, which is GPS enabled, and I'll talk to you about that in a few seconds. But you can create a CMA directly on your cell phone. So I can go ahead and tap on Send a Rapid CMA. I can confirm the details, and then it'll say next in the top right and next step at the bottom. You can use either option to go to the next step. You can choose maximum 3 active listings, and they choose those for you. When you tap on next, you can choose maximum 3 recent sales. Okay, and they also show you expireds and withdrawns. Tap on next. And then you can either email this to the person if you decided to be brave and knock on their door and maybe they answered, and you can share it with them. Or if you just want to see it, tap on Create Your Rapid CMA. It is very detailed. The reason that it's called a Rapid CMA is because, as you can see, there aren't a lot of options for customization. So I can't sit there and rearrange the pages, remove pages, add pages. All you have access to do is select maximum 3 active listings, 3 closed sales. Okay, so my report, the length of the report will depend entirely on how many properties you select, but it's using a satellite image of the property. It is using my profile information, and then it dedicates a page to each of the comparables that you selected. So here's the first comp. If it was in the MLS, it'll also give all the pictures. So it's a really detailed report. The report also gets emailed to you so that you can have a copy in your records. But if you notice at the bottom of the screen, I have a little square with an arrow. Remember, that means I can share it through text, email, or WhatsApp. Okay, and it is shared as a PDF. If I wanted to, I could send it in a message in the chat here on HomeSnap. So when I close the report, I have the option of opening the PDF again or sending it in a chat. I also have those options at the bottom right. There's that chat bubble, and there's that square with the arrow. Okay, again, this Rapid CMA, once you create it, you do get a copy of it emailed to you. So if you're not ready to send it, you still have it available in your email for you to review. Okay, I'm going to go back, and I'd like to show you how to use the safety timer. So let me find something close to me. The safety timer does rely on your GPS location. So you do have to be close to the property to use it. So I found an active listing that's nearby. Let's say I'm going to go to a showing. I'm going to go see this property, and I have to go by myself, or I'm by myself with the customer. We always recommend that you let your friends, loved ones, broker, manager, let someone know, or a couple of people know where you are going to be, at what time you intend to be there, how long you intend to be there, who you're going with, right? It's just a good idea to do that. Now, HomeSnap also has additional safety features because they have a safety timer. So when I get to the property, I pull it up on my cell phone and I say start a safety timer. And let's say I'm going to be there 30 minutes. I can add emergency contacts, so I can add various emergency contacts, and then at the bottom it says start the safety timer. If for whatever reason something occurs and the safety timer counts down to 0, it will text message my emergency contacts to let them know that something has perhaps happened. You can also stop the timer if you finished your meeting early. You can add time if you need extra time, or hopefully this never happens, but if something is happening and you are fearful, you can hit the distress alert and the text message goes out on the spot. Okay, so that's just an additional feature built in. I'm going to go ahead and stop the timer so that I don't accidentally send a text to anyone. So that safety timer is built in, and it is based off of GPS. All right, so we've talked about these main searches, right? The for sale and for rent are going to work the same way. Let's talk about all homes. It's a little different. All homes is going to give you information for properties if you decide to do a little bit of farming with your cell phone. So let's say I'm in this area and I want to go door knocking, and I want to see who's been in their home or who's been in that property at least 10 years, and their mortgage is at least 10 years old as well. If you notice, okay, here in all homes, the map, in the map itself, in the bottom left, right, it says heat maps. I'm going to tap on heat maps. And anything that says Pro Plus, you do not have, but you can use everything else. So if I wanted ownership time, I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to say 10 to 15 years, 15 to 20, 20 plus. So everybody who's been in their home or property 10 or more years. But I also want to use mortgage age. So if I scroll down, I've got mortgage age, and I'm going to say the same, 10 or more years. So I'm going to select everything that's at 10 or more years. I click or tap on apply, and everything that's highlighted in purple, those are properties that fall within the parameters that I just set. Now, HomeSnap recently, in the last few months, right before the quarantine, added in contact information. If it's available, you're going to tap on the property. So I'm going to pick this first one. It says off market, and their mortgage is 27.2 years old. I'm going to tap on that. I'm going to move down, and I'm going to look for a section that says current owner. They found a phone number for this owner, but it says do not call. Okay, so they also will let you know if that phone number is on the do not call list. So I can't contact this person. Could maybe go knock on their door or drop off some marketing materials. If I go to the second property, again, you're going to scroll down and you're going to look for current owner. Here we have email addresses. I can take all of these email addresses and email them my information. Each owner has 3 email addresses, so they're bound to see one of them, right? If you notice, each of them has a small envelope on the right-hand side. I can actually tap on that, and it'll open up my mail app on my phone, and I can type out an email on the spot. I would recommend you have a standard email saved in your notes, and then you can just copy and paste it over. If I tap on the third property, again, you're going to scroll down and you're going to look for current owner. Here I have 3 phone numbers. 2 of them are on the do not call list, but the third one is not. The third one has a chat bubble because I can text them. And then it has a phone if I want to just call them on the spot. There's also an email address. Okay? So under all homes, so again, we talked about for sale, for rent works the same way, but if you want contact information, you're going to go into all homes. Right? So I'm at the top right beneath that search bar, all homes. Once you tap on all homes, you can go ahead, and these filters are available for all homes, and you can say, you know, I want someone who's been there 7 to 15 years, or I want someone who doesn't have a mortgage, but you can use any of the filters as long as they do not say Pro Plus. Pro Plus is available at an additional cost or additional fee. All right, so we're done talking about the search features. Let's talk about news. Remember that the news is being pulled from the zip codes that you supplied in your profile. So if you're not seeing anything just yet, give it a day or 2 to actually gather information, especially considering that you may have recently updated those zip codes. All right. So that is pretty much it for HomeSnap. Okay, and HomeSnap is nationwide. So I had someone ask me recently, well, Maggie, what if I wanted to search in another state? There are tons of associations that are sharing their information. So if I wanted information on properties in Phoenix, Arizona, and the association in Phoenix is sharing that data, I can then see that MLS data for Phoenix. Okay, as you can see, they are. So I can see what's for sale. All right. So you can absolutely use this application to search in other states, in other counties. And as long as those associations are sharing that information, you would see that MLS information. If they are not, then you would see the information from the public record. All right, let's go ahead and jump into RPR. Now, RPR and Remind are the last 2 applications that I wanted to show you, and I will say this, these applications will make more sense to you if you've already used RPR and Remind on the computer, because what you can do on the computer, you can do on the application and vice versa. What you save on one is visible on the other, so they do sync. I will say though that RPR is a product of NAR, and RPR stands for Realtor Property Resource. It is meant to be a resource for agents. So there isn't a version of this that I can share with my customer of the application, but there are reports that I can create, and I can share those reports via text or email or what have you, but I can do that on my cell phone. Now, there are 3 main home screens. So when I launch RPR Mobile, okay, and it does work on your tablets as well, if I scroll left or right, I'm going to see that there are 3 different home screens, right? One home screen is going to be for your search tools. One home screen is going to be for what's going on around you. One home screen is going to be for some stats and calculations for things like median estimated value and median list price. Okay, so those are the 3 home screens that you can kind of scroll through. Now, at the top of the screen, you'll notice that there are 4 icons. There is a gear. Those are your settings. However, your profile is being pulled from the profile that you edited in your, or on your computer, in your desktop version. And if you've taken an RPR class, that's the first thing we show you, how to go in and edit your profile. So you don't need to come in here and repeat the process. It pulls from there. The magnifying glass is always going to take you to your search screen and your search options. The circle with the arrow is going to take you to your map, and the home icon will take you back to your home screens. Now at the bottom of the screen, I have 3 circles. I have reports if I would like to create a report on my phone. And every report that I can create on the desktop version, I can also create on my mobile device. So if you have not taken an RPR class, we do go through and create each of these reports and show you what they look like. We also have videos for that available. But I can go ahead and pull a property report, a seller's report, a flyer, a mini property report, market activity, neighborhood, school. I can even create a buyer tour with a few different properties if I'm going to go see 3 or 4 properties with a customer. Okay, now next to reports, I'm back on that home screen, or those home screens, I have recent. Recent is where I would see recent properties that I've pulled up, recent searches I've conducted, recent reports I've created, and recent notes. Recent means that it is there for 30 days. After 30 days, it will not be there, okay? So recent means they keep it for 30 days. And next to recent, they have saved. This stays here until you decide you no longer want to save it. So just like HomeSnap, every property will have a star, and you can tap on that star and save it as a favorite. And then your searches can also be saved. What's nice is even searches that I saved on the computer when I used RPR on the desktop, I can see here on my application. So everything does sync. So let me show you how you can maybe search or pull up a specific property. If I go to my search, I can use an address, I can use a city, a zip code. So let's say I want to look in zip code 33166. When I type in the zip code, it then pulls up Miami, Florida. I tap on that, and it's going to draw out that area. Now, I don't want to see everything in 33166. I want to specify what I'm looking for. So if you notice at the bottom of the screen, it says sort, which is how they're ordered or organized, the results. And then it says filter. If I tap on filter, I can now decide, is it a commercial or residential search? What property status and type? What do I want to include for beds and baths? And if you notice, I have filters here, but I have more filters in HomeSnap, so I have fewer to work with here. But you can add your filters, and at the bottom right, apply those filters. So if I'm looking for, 2 plus a 2, right? And I'm looking for property status, let's say I only want to see active, so I don't want all the statuses, I only want active. I apply filters. Okay, and now I see my results mapped out. If I prefer to see the properties in a list, okay, because this is the map and I can tap on any of them and pull up that information. But let's say I want to see these results in a list. At the top of the screen in the center, there is a button that says list. I tap on list, and now I switch from the map view to the list view. Each of these results, if you notice, has a circle with 3 dots in the bottom right corner. If I tap on that circle, I now have the option of creating a report for this, saving this property, adding notes, or taking pictures if I'm there, or I can call the agent. Okay, so it just kind of flips this over so I can see what my options are. But I have those very same options if I go ahead and I tap on that result. Okay, and then I have pictures there. I have at the bottom of the screen the option to call the agent, take notes, or create a report. And the star is to save it as a favorite. So I have that option as well. Now, if I go back to the map, so in the center it says map. If I wanted to save this search, There's a star at the bottom of the screen next to reports. That's going to save my entire search. I'm going to name it and I'm going to save it with that name. Okay, now, let's say I wanted to pull up a specific property. I can use an address or an MLS ID and I can go ahead and do that. Let's talk about some of those map options and tools. So if I go back to the map, the bottom right corner of the map has a circle with 3 dots. If I tap on that, I have the option of map view changing if I want to use the satellite view instead. Traffic counts if I want to see how many cars drive down those streets a day. Travel time, which is the same as commute time, but here you're only allowed to add 1 address. Distance to measure the distance between 2 points. Reload to refresh your map. Schools, so that you can map out those schools. Parcels, and draw if you would like to draw on the map. Okay, so I have a few extra tools here that I didn't necessarily have in HomeSnap. And like I mentioned, this does have a commercial version or a commercial side to it, and you can simply tap on those settings in the top left corner. And if you notice, it says mode, commercial or residential. I tap on that button and I can switch. I also have commercial data on HomeSnap. Okay, so you have commercial data on both. Lastly, I'd like to talk to you about Remind. Again, Remind, just like RPR, once you've used Remind on the computer, the application becomes very easy to use because it's pretty much set up the same way. Remind does have a version for customers. So starting from top to bottom, you see that there are 3 blue buttons: Step 1 Invite, Docs, and View More. Step 1 Invite is to send an invitation to your customers to invite them to register and use Remind. Again, just like HomeSnap, they're kind of linked to you. Their account is linked to you, so they only see your info. Docs is if you would like to upload documents and send them out to get the electronic signature. Okay, so Docs, you can't fill out your contracts here, but once they are filled out, you can then load them into Docs and share them so that you can get those signatures. And then View More allows us to create a saved search, start a chat, or add a new card. And your cards are these rectangles, or squares I should say, that you see on the screen that I'm scrolling through. And it's basically got a little bit of everything. Now at the bottom of the screen, I have my main menu options. Daily is where we currently are. Search is going to allow you to run a search. Carts works the same way that favorites works, or the same way that it works for favorites on HomeSnap and RPR. This is where I can go ahead and basically create like a folder and save specific properties. You have your chats, and then if you tap on more, you have your profile, engage to keep track of those customers that are using Remind, your saved searches, your contacts, your settings, a mortgage calculator, a tour log, and Docs. So let's talk about the search. If I go back to the search, I can search an address, a person, or an agent. Beneath that search bar, I have map or list, if I prefer to see my results in a list. I have sort and filter. If I tap on sort and filter, I can choose between a sale or rental search, and then I can add in my criteria. When I'm done adding my criteria, I tap on update at the bottom. Okay, and it'll go ahead and map out my results. Now, even if the property is not actively listed, it's not on the MLS, every property gets this little blue dot. You can tap on any of these blue dots and get information about the property, even if it's off market. Okay, so let's say I'm going to go ahead and go to Miami Springs again. Okay, there's Miami Springs. I want to add in my filters. I tap on sort and filter. It's in the top right corner, sort and filter, right beneath that little search bar. I'm going to specify sale or rentals. How do I want them sorted? High to low, low to high. Sort by days on market or price. So you have your options of sorting at the top. MLS status, you can specify 1 or more. Do I want to include closed listings, open houses, list price, building type? And then once you're done, you've got bed and bath, square footage. Once you're done, you're going to click on apply. Right, and it's going to map out those results. Again, if you'd rather see the results on the list, in the top left corner next to map, it says list. If I wanted to add any of these properties to a cart, you'll notice that each property in the top right corner has a shopping cart. It works the same way as the stars do on HomeSnap and RPR. Okay, I can tap on any of these properties, see the pictures, see the listing agent, the listing details. In the top right corner, I have the shopping cart again. I have a square with an arrow to share, and I have 3 dots if I want to view a tour log, start a tour, create a CMA, or use the mortgage calculator. And then at the bottom of the screen, I have the option to message the agent. Again, if you have not taken RPR or Remind classes, please take those classes and or watch those videos that are already available so that you can feel more comfortable. These applications are meant to be complementary to the desktop versions. So if you know how to use the desktop version, the application becomes very easy to use, and they do sync. Okay, so what I do on the desktop will be seen, or I can see it on my app, and what I do on my app, I'll be able to see when I log in on the computer. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the chat. That is officially the end of Mobile Realtor with Miami. All right, everyone, if you don't have any other questions, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today for Mobile Realtor with Miami. I hope that you learned something new. If you have any questions as you start to use these applications on your own, please feel free to let us know. We'd be more than happy to help. And stay safe. And thank you so much for being Miami members.